Hello beauties and welcome back to the Bumpy Bones Locksport channel. So a couple weeks ago I was up in beautiful Lake Placid on an IT conference, and during my time up there I decided to stop by some of the local hardware stores up there and see what kind of locks that they had that they sold. In my area, it's pretty much just Master Lock. We are starting to see some Squire come through, which is, I think, really cool. We do get Brinks in like Walmart or that, but those are the common brands that we have. So I wanted to see, up in the Adirondacks, what they had up there that they have any other brands and all that. And I did find a Commando lock and all of that. And I've seen some videos from McNally and some other pickers, picking the Commando locks here and all that, having some fun with them. And so I thought, hey, I'll get this guy and let's take a look at it and see, just how easy is it to pick in. I would equate it to maybe a Brinks or a Master Lock. It does have it's a 5-pin lock, and it does have five security pins in it with, I think they're spooled, but the key pins are also spooled as well. And I always find it interesting the way that they put things on the package here. So let's take a look at the package here real quick. So this is the 44mm padlock. Now, I tried to find this lock in the Lockpickers United belt system. They do have some Commando locks, but they don't have a 44mm padlock listed. This is a military grade padlock, and one of the locks that they do have listed in the LPU belt system is a Commando IC3 tactical lock. And when I look at the images associated with that, it looks exactly like this lock. And so I'm going to, it's a 5-pin lock, at least according to the pictures that they got there. So I am going to just kind of make the connection with that and make the assumption that this is the same lock. And so this is going to be roughly a green belt level lock in the LPU belt system here. Um, it's weather resistance. It's got the boron shackle, which is, a really nice strong shackle. It does operate really nice and smoothly. Um, it has a good pry resistance according to this. If we take a look at the back here, we have exceeds ASTM standards for increased bump resistance. I want to do a little bit more research into this at some point. I may do a video on this at a later date. In terms of, what are these ASTM standards? I don't do a lot of bump with my locks, a lot of bumping with locks. I've got bump keys. The kinetic attacks are hard on my hands, and the bump keys I'm still learning. So I want to find out exactly what that is, because I don't see that on like the Master Lock packaging or anything like that. Now, if anybody else has seen this statement and on like Master Lock's packaging, do let me know and all that, because I am very curious with this. Um, this is a laminated padlock as well that is underneath the plastic or the rubber coating that is over this. It is a dual ball locking mechanism, so that means we cannot shim this lock. And then the last thing that they have on here is that this is a paracentric keyway, provides increased pick resistance. Now, let's take a look at the keyway here because, yeah, okay, it is a bit paracentric. It's a yellowish style keyway. But that is still, it doesn't increase pick resistance at all. I can take my gem here from Multipick here. This is the 0.5mm. And I can use this to get right in here, bomb the keyway, get access to all the pins. In fact, I can take a wider 0.6mm or the 25 thousandths, and still, I mean, yeah, this does block me going in through this way, but I can still tack the lock on the warding up here pretty easily. And so does the keyway itself increase pick resistance? Not really. And we'll show that a little bit when we go to open this. What I think does really increase the pick resistance on this, though, as much as it can, is the security pins in here. So what I want to do is I want to bring over my endoscope here real quick. And I want to see if I can show you those security pins there. So, yeah, right there. So you can see those little lines on that key pin there, and all the key pins have that line. And so if I overset a pin, it will feel like a false set to me, with that type of key pin there. So that's one thing that we do want to watch out when we're picking this lock here. Other than that, I don't think that there's any other really big tricks with this. So let's go ahead and turn off our endoscope here and go ahead and see what we can do about picking here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use top of the keyway tension, and I'm using a custom pry bar that I made from Moki flat bar stock. Um, my custom pry bars are definitely the my most favorite tensioners that I've got. You can use other standard ones here. So if I get the 1 millimeter oh, that's Sparrows. Let's get 1 millimeter Law Lock tools. Um, that fits in there with no problem. I just like the fit of my custom tools and all that. So we're going to go with this one. And then I am using the 0.5 millimeter gem. This is also the notch gem. And I forget the set I got this from. I'll put a link to this pick in the description of the channel. It is the F81. That's what they got on here. But I do like this pick. It is a very cool pick. It's one of the more recent ones I've gotten from Multipick, and I find that it is really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we can do about getting this guy open. So I'm going to start with pin 1, and I am getting a couple of counter rotations with that. I think we are set. Going to pin 2. Now pin 2 has always kind of stuck with this guy here, so I'm not getting anything on pin 2. Pin 3, all right, got some good clicks on pin 4, still more clicks. All right, I got a nice click there. Go back to pin 3, got a good counter rotation, but the pins behind it dropped, so there we go. All right, let's go check the next pin down. Pin 2, got a nice rotation there. Pin 3, pin 1. Got 2 clicks, and we are open. So yeah, so that was a pretty fun pick and all of that. Now, and as you can see, before I actually get talking about that, so you see that rounded on the shackle here. So we've got the ball bearings here. In fact, if I bring let's just take a quick look at that just real quick. Endoscope back, and my hand does not want to really grip and work with that. Yeah, so you can see there's the ball bearing. And it is, when you have a lock that has a ball bearing actuator in here, shimming the locks open is not possible. And that's just because of the actuator that is in the actual lock. When it is in lock, it's literally just a solid piece of brass between the two balls, and so there's really no way of shimming that open with that. There are other things that I would like to try with this lock at some point. I do want to see if I can bypass the core and actually interact with the actuators when we do have that style of actuator, it can be susceptible to a bypass attack with that. Um, I just gotta learn how to do that with some different sets. On a previous video that I submitted, Vlad mentioned that the use of dimple picks can be used to bypass and act as that mechanism. And I just want to make sure I get a pick set up that if it breaks, I'm not going to cry over. Because the dimple picks that I've got are the multi-pick dimple picks. They're hard for me to replace. And I don't have any other, thin enough um, dimple picks that I think I would be able to do that with. So I just want to make sure that I do some testing in that before I actually start showing that. So, but these were definitely a fun lock to learn. And I hope everybody enjoyed this video. As always, do feel free to like and comment on my videos and subscribe to my channel. And I hope everyone has a beautiful day. And don't forget, it is June and Pride Month. So I really hope that everybody's having a amazing Pride Month as well. So I will see you all later.